There's no way any layperson who doesn't do this for a full-time job could ever research all of the ins and outs of how all of it works.
Can you kind of just give like a brief overview of what kind of loans you can get here in Tennessee?
Yes. So the four main kinds of loans that pretty much every lender that is in mortgage lending, so not like a bank or credit union, but like a mortgage lender, is conventional. FHA, which is the Federal Housing Administration, which we talked about with Roosevelt. The VA, so for any of our veterans who have served, served in the military, they have a wonderful benefit that's 100% financing. There's a lot of really great perks with that loan. And that's for our veterans. And then USDA, same administration agency that stamps our beef. If you go to the store and buy steak and there's that USDA, it's the same one. It's the United States Department of Agriculture. It sounds like we'd be buying a farm, but we're not. It's actually just a property that's out, not in the city limits. And that's also 100% financing. So those are the four main types of loans. Then you have like attachments to them, like accessories. So THDA is the Tennessee Housing Department agency loan that is down payment assistance. That's up to $7,500 for first-time buyers who are looking to get qualified to purchase a home and don't maybe have money for closing costs or down payment.
A lot of people don't know about that loan, so I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yes, THDA is really great. And sometimes I'll compare and contrast it for people, and it's not a one size fits all, but it is an option. And then the company I'm currently with, we have what we call CRA products, which CRA stands for Community Reinvestment Act. And the federal government requires certain agencies or certain institutions to give money of their profits back to the communities where they're located. And the way our institution does that is through, we have a doctor program, we have a professional program, we've got a first-time buyer home start program. We have our first responders program, so teachers, EMTs, firefighters, police officers, nurses, that kind of thing. And a lot of those products are 100% with no mortgage insurance. And Brenna,
Yes,
mortgage insurance can account for $100 to $400 a month in your monthly payment. So with no mortgage insurance and no bump to the rate, then your buyer then has so much more buying potential.
absolutely.
Instead of having $1,000 payment buy you a $150,000 house, $1,000 a month payment could buy you $180,000 or $190,000 house. That's huge in the market we're in right now.
Oh yes. What kind of grants are available in Tennessee?
So the THDA loan used to be considered a grant. They have turned it into a loan now. So if you are participating with the THDA, it is now a 15-year fixed second mortgage. So you would have two mortgage loans, two mortgage payments on that program. Every year in March, the Welcome Home Fund grants come out, and that is up to $7,500. The $7,500 is for our veterans. Anyone who's even served one day gets $7,500, and anyone who does not have military service gets $5,000. You are not required to be a first-time home buyer, so it's very unique in that point of view. And it is a forgivable grant, and it's forgiven at $1,000 a year for the first 5 years, I believe. Gotcha. Is how they do that. And that is considered a grant. So there's no payment on that second. It's not really a second. It is a silent second. So it is recorded as like a lien against your house. But it's just as it's forgiven over those 5 years. So that's a grant. There also is a Murfreesboro City grant, which a lot of people don't know about. It's through the city of Murfreesboro. So the property has to be in the city of Murfreesboro. I'm going to be honest, that box for qualifying on that on the income is a little small. But I have put some people in it, and it was a really great program for, I think I helped a single mom. Also the Nashville Housing Fund, which even though it sounds like it's only for Nashville, it really serves all of the counties in Middle Tennessee. That one's more of a loan though than a grant,
Okay.
and it's up to $35,000. So there is a payment on that one as well. Um, and those are the grants that I am familiar with. I've heard of some other different programs, and like we have a grant that is either $3,000 or $5,000, depending on your income limit and where you're buying and things like that for first-time buyers. And that the cool thing about that particular grant that we have with Iberia is it's 100% forgivable on day one. So if you bought a house today and then you saw your neighbor put their house up for sale and you're like, hey, I want that one, you sold this one, you don't pay us any of that money back. It's a true grant, which there are not very many
Right.
true grants these days. And then if we're talking about down payment type assistance, something people don't often think about are gifts. If you have a family member who has a 401k or owns a home, they can get a loan or a withdrawal on their 401k to help gift you money. And then by the same token, as a buyer, if you have a 401k you've contributed to, you can typically use those funds to pay for your down payment or closing costs as well. And people often don't think about that because the market has done so well over the last, couple of years that their 401ks have grown. And if that's the case, like, let's leverage that money to help you, get into a home. Well, right now, I think when I added it up, there's 57 different combinations of loan and grant program and all of this. And there's no way any layperson who doesn't do this for a full-time job could ever research all of the ins and outs of how all of it works. And, so not saying don't be an informed buyer,
Right.
but just, there's just no way for you to completely investigate and completely vet out every different situation. So that's really what your mortgage lender should be doing. A mortgage lender should never tell you, okay, Brenna, this is the kind of loan you should get. I would never do that. I would be like, okay, here are 3 different options that you qualify for, or 3 variations of one that you qualify for. And let's really talk about what your needs are, what your goals are with this home, and how long do we think we want to be there? Because that's going to play a really important part in which type of loan we pick as well. So I see myself more as like, I'm going to hold your hand and walk the path with you, and I hold the flashlight to kind of show you where the pitfalls are. Right. But it's not my life. Your life and your home and your loan